Dubs. What do you want to do with this thing here? This doesn't seem like a very spicy stock. That's... Okay. And this one you got to be careful too because it's faded off a good chunk of its, a good chunk of its range. And this one looks like it's got some momentum. Hey Mo, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Shreyas, once again, per usual, no watch list. Alright, good morning, everybody. What's up? Let's get to work. Hey, we got weakness in the market for once, which is awesome. Frankly, we've been getting gap ups every day. We need we need a little bit of shakeout in this market, especially, a lot of the swing traders probably get a little bit complacent. A nice little pullback is going to be in the cards. Now, the key today is going to be, whether we hold at this 9 EMA on the daily. I just mark out this 332. That coincides with kind of, a little bit of support down over here. So I would just mark that out. You may come in here and just rip back over. But one thing you will notice is you're starting to flatten out over here on your MAs. That can put some sell pressure on the market. I know you guys, it's been an easy time for everybody of late for trading and, but a little bit of a dump in the market is good for the soul. Actually, taking even a few losing days, taking a few losing days will be good for the soul too. It'll keep you tight, it'll keep you tight because frankly, it's been a little bit too easy, I think. Having a little honesty in the market's good. Let's take a look at the gappers here and see what's going on. Hey, Daniel, what's going on? Yay! All right, let's take a look first at the earnings plays, and then let's go from there. There's quite a few of these that are still cruising around. A couple things here. After this rocket, well, not for me, Marco, but for like regular people. Not me. I can't even get a Broner if I lose $500. So after this rocket ship yesterday, there's a good shot that, people are going to try to pick off the next one. So, you get some stocks here like this Lodi. This is not my cup of tea, these kind of names, but after Rocket was up about 1,000% yesterday at one point. Yeah, so you're talking about 3 to 34. So even though this Lodi's up, 300%, if you're just kind of going off okay, this is the pump is in on these stocks, then frankly, it's still got more room to go. Now, this is not I have zero plans on playing this, but I know some of you degenerates will want to. This Clips has probably got a little bit of action too. 7.2 million shares. The key on these kind of names is that you just can't. Hey, from Denmark. I just learned something interesting about Denmark. That Denmark has one of the best farming communities around. They just grow all this stuff in these greenhouses. And so even without arable land, they do some good farming over there. Hey, keep an eye on this EH while we're doing this. We may have to come in and shred this thing. So this Clips is probably something worth adding if you like small caps. The key is going to be when you trade these kind of names, you don't want to ever buy them at the open. Let them base out. And then what you'll start to see is if they start to base out for an hour or two, let them kind of push into the afternoon. That's a much easier play. And then, you can come in and shred. That's a much easier play than trying to time it at the open, and try to do something on these things because they're already up so much. So you definitely want to let them pull back. SOS, junk. And yeah, I have no plans on playing any of these small caps today. I'll let you young guys do that. All right, so Riot. Now, Riot, we've gapped up multiple days in a row. We had a little bit of a dump on it yesterday, but it was just a tricky bastard. Today's the day. Like today's the day. Today is the day. You don't have to look at the price of Bitcoin or anything like that. Sometimes when the supply needs to be pulled, the supply will just be pulled. You've got an exhaustion gap here. The 9 EMA is at 46 bucks. This thing's at $70. This thing is ready. This thing is ready to go for a potential short. Now, once again, you can't just short to short, right? So what you need to do is wait for an intraday setup. But like this thing is ripe. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing at some point. You know, whether it's today or tomorrow, you're gonna get a 10, 15 point monster fade on it. What you do got to be careful of, and this happens a lot when these things as they get higher and higher, like what some of the brokers will do, because they're just skeezy little bastards, is you've got to come in and they'll pull the borrows sometimes. So, you know, make sure you're really kind of just keeping an eye on these things. Make sure you go to your brokers. Make sure you reserve your shares just in case. I would definitely add that as top of the list. QS, you know, this is a trend reversal play at this point. So you've got yourself like a nice rounding pattern over here. Your moving averages have flattened out. Woo! Look at the EH fly. The red to green on this thing happened in the pre-market. You've got a rounding pattern on this bad boy. Oh boy. 12% gap up. I didn't see any news on this thing, not that it really matters. I think this one, as long as it hangs out over 55, that was the high from a couple days ago. This thing is going to, man, this thing's going to shred. Like, this thing's got a chance to really shred. I think that you've got yourself a nice location on this. Now, one thing we know with QS is what? Oh, man. Anybody in this thing? Yeah. Oh, QS may have had earnings. One thing with QS is you've got to, I was talking about EH. One thing with QS is like you've got to always hit it on pullbacks. It does not work well at the open, at least the first few candles. So just kind of be mindful of that. I always like, you know, I trade QS all the time, but almost always it works better. Like if it gaps up, it almost works better. Like it always works better on pulls. I've done this so many times where it's like, you know, like you hit some like high of day breakout or something, and it just doesn't work that well on that. But it really works well on pullbacks. This is top of the list. If the earnings were out last night, this is going to be top of the list. I think you got room up to 62 today if we can get going. That thing is hot. Ver, man, this stock is a lot of stress. When it moves, it really moves. So Ver, GlaxoSmithKline. Why do they got three names? GlaxoSmithKline. Say that 10 times in a row. GlaxoSmithKline. 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 But you can't do it, right? GlaxoSmithKline. GlaxoSmithKline. Can't do it, right? That thing is amazing. That's. This thing is hot. You've got a range break right here around 80. When it moves, it really moves. The only problem with this one is there's going to be a monster cock spread on it. There's going to be a monster spread on it, and 80 is going to be a spot, all right? 80 is going to be a laser is for hoes and turds. And sometimes you can mix those around and ladle them all in your mouth. 80 is a spot on this, all right? If this thing has got a low float, it's only 80 million, it can ORB. The question is about the spread. So you don't want to chase this thing up with too much size. 80 is going to be a spot. That's top of the list. Between QS and that, Nectar. Man, Nectar too, huh? Nectar. So this has got actually a rounding bottom play. Nectar's got a nice chart. So this type of chart, actually, if you look at it, this type of chart, I mean, this is not sexy, right? It's not like some small cap, right, penny pump thing that everybody's into. But this is like a nice range break here. This is a weekly chart. You've got a level over here over 25. That's really hot. This thing is golden. You know, this thing is golden. You got 200 million share float. It should move pretty well. You know, you've already started to pick up a little bit of steam on this thing. I would add that to the list. You know what? It's a biotech stock. In general, like, guys, if you have a bunch of stocks on your watch list, tech, biotech, always you want to give them more importance than the rest of them. So, like, if you had a retail stock or this stock, always tech, biotech, order of importance. Tech, biotech, order of importance. Tech, biotech, order of importance. So if I had like 10 stocks or 15 stocks, and I'm like, man, I just got too many of them, right? You always want to take out, like, all right, if I got some industrial company, I toss it. If I got some oil company, even though they are trending this year, I toss it. I always go tech, biotech first, you know, when all things are equal. Hey, for some of you little small guys, some of you guys that like these little guys, you little perverts, this CBAT's got a nice breakout pattern setting up here. This is going to probably move in a little bit of more of a normal way than this, like, clips and, you know, some of this other stuff that probably you guys are going to be playing today. You degens. I know which one of you guys will be playing that clips and some of these names. This Lodi. Jason, we got to stay away from these. These are the ones that get us in trouble. This thing is nice, though. If you can hold into this, like, 9 zone, I think that this one at some point is going to start really running. I wouldn't be surprised if it holds 1140s, you know, kind of all that kind of fun stuff. Keep it going. Yo, if the Bitcoin stocks don't roll over, probably this BTBT breaks out. To me, this looks like kind of a second test of resistance, so it's not a priority for me at all. For me, like, I think this thing's got to, you know, pull back and then go again. So it's not really, I'm leaning short on these things. I can't long this thing. Good. Let me see CCIV. Frankly, this is too long in the tooth at this point. Guys, you know, with CCIV, you had so many chances, right? You had 18, 20, 32. My guess is when the news comes out, it's a sell the news event anyways. Look, the market cap is at 10 billion. The acquisition was, I think, stated for 12 billion. You're right there anyways. Whatever. You know, I think you got one more day to probably trade this thing around. But when the news actually comes out, it's probably a sell the news event. Most likely. I mean, you know, market surprises us all the time. All right. Mara, this also looks like a short. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Good. These are the earnings plays here. Let me just post these in the chat room for you guys. These are the gapper plays that we want to do. Put these in your TC2000. Whoop. Good. Now let's talk about just some non-earnings plays that I really like, that I think are going to be in play for a little bit. This MP, we were trading this yesterday on this breakout over here. You got actually a flat top breakout that's starting to develop over here. This is a rare earth mineral play. If this thing busts over, you'll get a continuation play. If it busts over about 41.58, give or take, that should send it into the next run. I like this name a lot, and it actually, frankly, trades well. Like, it's got sick range on it. Alright. I just added some BNB for the cryptos. Check this out. This thing is hot. Hold on here. Check this out. I think I like this one a lot. Look at this thing. So you got a flag breakout over here. Woo! This thing is just, probably just added some of this zone over here. This thing, if it breaks out this 148, like this thing's gonna go bajonkers on you. Yeah, BNB's out of the coins. This is probably one of my more favorite. I think this probably catches up to Ethereum at some point. I mean, they do the same shit, but at least they got their own broker and make money and stuff like that. But, you know, Binance is on top of everything. That's where I do a majority of, you know, my crypto trading. This thing is fucking hot. Yeah. You gotta, these are 15-minute charts, but you gotta come in on these things. This thing is hot. There's a couple other ones that I like. Binance, I think LTC probably bounces here. Let me see if not LTC, Link. There it is. So Link this is just more of a trend pullback play. You got this thing to 36, pulling back to the 9. It looks like there's going to be a hammer candle here. Once this thing goes red to green, I think that this one's going to be, I think this thing is going to be hot. This thing is hot. Ooh. I think this one's going to be hot too. I would add those to the list. Both of those look fantastic. There's some other okay ones that I think you should be keeping an eye on. This XTZ is probably something on a longer term basis that looks okay. Hold on here. Let me find this fucking ticker here. This is another one. Like you just had this big breakout to 560. And you've pulled back right into 90 MA. See how you got this hammer candle over here? That's a reversal pattern. I think that one's going to be pretty good. Like this has got a good location on it. I think my favorite, at least for the next couple days, is going to be this BNB. As long as it kind of holds this zone. I put a stop at the bottom of the day. I think this thing probably pushes close to 200 in the next couple days. We'll see. We'll see what's up, but that thing is hot. Now, on the other side of the stock side, let's go back to this. We got MP on watch here. Only if it breaks over yesterday's highs. Chewy had a rest day yesterday. We're coming back into the breakout spot. This thing, there's a good shot this thing holds. You know, sometimes like after a big day, you'll have a rest day. Now you're coming back and retesting that breakout spot. There's a good shot that this thing's got a hold. FUV, this thing got to 37. Now this will need a general market push in terms of EVs to get this thing going. But usually, like when you get like a big run, so this was like your flag breakout or you know however you want to draw it. Usually when you get a big run, like what you need to do is that first pullback to the 20 SMA often will hold. That first pullback to the 20 SMA often will hold. That's going to be hot. Like if this thing holds here and you get a green candle to hold, you start to get some level of reversal. Man, we're coming in. We're coming in hot on this thing. Now this is a speculative play. So when you do speculative plays, what has to happen? You really need like a broad-based kind of market, right? Some market mojo. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Like when the market is soft, spec plays, these kind of plays, they just keep bleeding out. So just something to be mindful of. This is going to need like a little bit. We're going to have to massage the balls on this one a little bit better. We're going to have to massage the balls on this a little bit better, but I think it'll be okay. Let me look at Fubo. Fubo looks okay too. Did it have its earnings out today? No. Dun, 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 dun. It looks okay. I fucking hate cruise lines, but they did have nice trenders yesterday. I think like this is okay to me, but it's not a priority. Like to me, this is just range life. I mean, when I see this, I see penis in between us, right? That's the back seat of your buddy's Volkswagen. It's hot yesterday, but it's not really hot long term. So you just don't get that. You're just crossing swords. You're crossing swords with your buddy, which is only fun certain days. CCL. See, I mean, these are fine. Like, they were hot yesterday, but I don't know if they're fine. Like, that's, if you like cruisers, you can put them on your list and shred them. To me, this just does not proper time frame alignment in terms of what I like to do. But you do have some levels here that it's starting to cross out. I think if you got this thing over 25 over the next week or two, you probably get them. And frankly, you might. I don't know if there's any shorts left in this. You may want to check, but if there are, then you probably get a little bit of a short squeeze. Good. Can. This is another one. This thing was $4. Ran up to 25. This is what we call a rubber band short play. It's already opened up red, so we'll have to let it squeeze higher. But this is prime time watch for a fade. You may want to just check and make sure you have borrows. E-Trade, usually they had them yesterday. You 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days in a row. You got a gap up. That's an exhaustion gap. You can see the distance from price and 9 EMA. Usually if you can fit 2 thumbs between the price and 9 EMA, you're already a little bit extended. This is like 3 thumbs. This thing is ready to fade off. We're shorting Riot, Mara, Can. We're taking these things down today at some point. Whether it's at the open or not, I don't know. But we're going to be shredding these things. Then on the other side, we're going to try to bounce a couple of these techs. And then we got some nice earnings plays. We got Nectar, QS, Riot, add Ver to the list too. Red flags. Look, the QQQ is already down 0.8%. Today may be the day to short. Already down 0.8%. Now, historically, the last couple months, when the market is open down this week, down like 1% or more, we've caught bounces at the open. We've caught bounces at the open, and then you may fade off later. So this is going to be a little bit more tricky because the market is weak. The price action is very weak, already pre-market. But we have seen these kind of down gaps get bought up very, very quickly. Sometimes they go red to green, but in general, like they may pop up, fill the gap, and then roll over. So this is going to be a lot more tricky today. You're going to have to be able to play both ways. You're definitely going to have to be able to play both ways. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Keep that QS on watch. You never know. If the market holds up, it may squeeze. Some pot stocks were hot yesterday. I think APHA is probably moving the most steady out of them. Yeah, but this may have been a dead cat bounce. I don't know. But that's the list. I'm sticking to it. HYLN, man, this thing is too spiky and fadey. Not my cup of tea. Cool. Be careful with your swing trades today, guys. This market just feels heavy. I don't know. In general, though, anytime I've thought it felt heavy, it's ripped back. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt. But the big hairy but is that markets do just do normal things at some point, and that's gonna be something we're gonna have to be very aware of. Good. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Let's do this, guys.